Big Rab Show Podcast is kindly sponsored by G1 Reeds. They are the champion's choice, with many bands around the world playing G1 products, providing everything you'd need to hit the circle or the big stage. So, check out g1reeds.com as they keep the lights on here at the Big Rab Show Podcast. Hello there, everyone, and welcome to another Big Rab Show podcast. Yeah, the title of this week's episode kind of gives it away. That's exactly what we're going to be talking about. Winter Storm. Yep, this week rolls around every year, and I tell you what, I don't know, I am suffering from severe FOMO right now, the fear of missing out. And yeah, let's get through it together, shall we? We've got a full preview to get into in this week's topic. And yeah, we've got a lot more to get into aside that. So, let's get this week's show underway, shall we? Well, if this is your first ever Big Rab Show podcast, then you are welcome. We are the show for the bagpiping folk, reflecting everything in the bagpiping world, be it Celtic music, folk music, or indeed our bread and butter, competitive piping and drumming. Each and every week we're here talking about what we know and love to be the music of the Great Highland Bagpipe and its people. And yes, like every other podcast under the sun, we do have a Patreon, where I have to say our Patreon faithful, they've been privy to a lot of extras this last while, and they've been kind of spoiled. That's all I'm going to say on that front. But remember I was chatting about it last week, about developments behind the scenes, and yeah, a lot of work going on here. That's all I'm going to say. But yes, of course, our Patreon faithful have had little previews and little peeks behind the curtain as to what exactly we're up to. So that's all I'm going to say on that front. I know I'm very cryptic, but normally I do let the cat out of the bag and spoil everything. But I'm doing my best not to this time. So there you go. Shout out to our Patreon faithful. You guys are awesome. All right. Well, with each and every Big Rab Show podcast, we do open the doors to listener mail, and that email address has never changed from the start of the show. bigrabshow@gmail.com. That address again, bigrabshow@gmail.com. Now, I have to say, last week's podcast kind of did throw the cat amongst the pigeons, and we have quite a number of weekly drones to get through this week. Yeah, so we will get through those in a minute or two. But first of all, we did get quite an interesting piece of listener mail here from Ross Miller, just giving us a bit of a heads up, really, saying that he's going to be releasing a brand new single on the 24th of January. This is going to be called The Drunken Man from Killabacken. Ooh, so yeah, get that pre-saved, apparently. It is available for pre-save. And yeah, 24th of January can't come quick enough. It's been a long time since we got a new release from Ross, I suppose just the tail end of last year. So looking forward to listening to this, actually. Yeah. He was also letting us know about his upcoming gig, actually, as well, the same date that the new single's being launched. So The Drunken Man of Killabacken is the new single. That's coming out on the 24th of January. But also on the 24th of January is his Celtic Connections gig, of course, from the Strathclyde Suite there at the Glasgow Royal Concert Hall. That's going to be a blistering gig that you're definitely not going to want to miss. I did tell you that this year's Celtic Connections is absolutely blistering for piping fans. So, yeah, that's definitely one gig you will not want to miss. Ross Miller at the Strathclyde Suite. So, CelticConnections.com for all of your tickets and all of that stuff. Don't miss it. And if anything, the day before Ross's gig is the Inverary gig. So if you're heading over to the Inverary District show on the 23rd, then why not hang around and then catch Ross's gig the following day on the 24th? I don't know. That's 2 solid days of blistering piping there. And fantastic. So there you go. For more information, of course, go to CelticConnections.com and you can have a search for Ross Miller. All those details are up there now. And of course, shout out to Ross. Thanks for the heads up on your new upcoming single, which will be released the same date as your Celtic gig. So looking forward to that. There you are. All right. So all other listener mail is pretty much on the topic of the UK Championships. A lot of people still talking about it. And yeah, I think we had tackled a lot of it on last week's show. We did talk about the importance of the date and why this decision had such a huge impact on bands here in Northern Ireland. And a lot of our correspondence that we got on listener mail was a lot of people either agreeing with us or in some cases disagreeing with us. And yeah, we're quite content to take our lumps on that, I guess. We did our best to try and tackle quite a difficult topic, which is also difficult politically as well. That does have all those overtones that we did mention in the show. So we didn't avoid it. We tackled it head on, and it is what it is. So yeah, our weekly drones kind of reflect the feeling of the piping folk out there. So yeah, JD, I think it's time we get into weekly drones. There's a lot to get through here. So JD, what's this week's first weekly drone?
It's the weekly drone.
Europeans. Hi, Rab and the team. I listened to your most recent podcast regarding the European Championships. Sadly, I cannot keep quiet about this. Whilst you were right to avoid the political and religious side of the issue, it cannot be ignored. Now, it is not my place to become a history teacher, so I would implore your listeners to do a quick Google search in that regard. Keeping things strictly pipe band and fact related, the majority of the pipe band world is not based in Northern Ireland, and no organization made a bid to hold any major competition in NI. What are the RSPBA meant to do? Say no to a bidder just because the Northern Irish already have something planned, so the rest of the pipe band community will just have to miss out? No thank you. It's unfortunate, but so are many things in life. Money, distance, accommodation are factors. I will stand behind any argument with those points being made. But the 12th of July? Nope. Also, bands in the USA, Canada, New Zealand, Australia have far greater costs than a band just across the Irish Sea. We rarely hear any of those bands complaining. The simple problem here is that the RSPBA cannot win. People will always find a reason to moan. Scottish bands complained when the Europeans were in Northern Ireland. I would love to see what bands from the British Isles say when Europeans were actually held in mainland Europe, or the World Pipe Band Championship in Australia, for example. Advice to all British Isles bands: stop moaning. You don't realize how good you've got it.
Weekly Droner. I think you're making reference there to the European Championships. We were actually talking about the UK Championships, which are being held on the 12th of July. And yes, as I've said before, we do take our lumps on that. We do know that last week's show was definitely given the thoughts and opinions of bands here based in Northern Ireland. We did give across why that date was important to a lot of people and the disappointment for a lot of bands folk here locally in Northern Ireland. So yes, I can absolutely understand your arguments there. You do make some valid points as well about a lot of our international bands having much more extortionate costs to deal with than what we would have here in Northern Ireland. And yes, that we should essentially stop complaining. However, I do believe still that there was some very pertinent points that were raised as part of last week's show. So if you haven't listened to it yet, then yeah, go back, have a listen and draw your own conclusions. One of the big things that did come from that discussion, I guess, was, the statement from the RSPBA themselves that did mention that they did not receive any bids for the event from Northern Ireland. And that is a fair point, yeah. And we mentioned that in the show to say, well, it's better to have a major noted in the calendar than not at all. It's definitely a factor here. So, Weekly Droner, I do agree with you in some regard, yeah. All right, let's move on. We do have more weekly drones to get into, but as you can hear there, that weekly droner, yeah, not happy with last week's show and the opinions expressed on it. But hey, you can't impress everybody, I guess. All right, let's move on to the next one, JD. What have we got?
It's the weekly drone.
Everyone. Quite frankly, I find the choice for the UK's extremely disrespectful to Northern Ireland bands. Regardless of what your beliefs are, you have to agree that asking Northern Ireland bands to choose loyalties is appalling. Many don't support the 12th parades, and that is fine, but you need to take into account that a lot of bands in Northern Ireland wouldn't even have a place to practice if it weren't for the Orange Halls. Furthermore, they don't ask a lot in return, usually just to play at 1 or 2 parades a year. Giving competing bands this ultimatum of competing or marching is just a joke. The RSPBA need to get their act together. This is a joke. Apologies for the rant. Never used the drone thingy before.
You're quite okay, Weekly Droner. Yeah, a lot of people don't use Weekly Drone and don't know how it works, so quite understandable. But yes, we received your message and it's now on the show, and that kind of gives the other perspective, doesn't it? The wealth of feeling around the piping scene locally here to me in Northern Ireland would reflect that, in my opinion. A lot of people pretty badly aggrieved by it all. But yes, by our first Weekly Droner this week, it kind of does put it in perspective, doesn't it? Yeah, so I have to say that this is the message that I have been hearing all across the scene here locally in Northern Ireland. And yeah, band's not happy. Band's not happy. All right, let's move on, I think. Yeah, let's get into the next Weekly Drone, shall we?
It's the Weekly Drone.
April Fools. I think they should run the competition on the 1st of April. Equally impractical and nonsensical, but very apt for an organization run by a bunch of fools. Take politics out of it. It has jack all to do with what color your coat is. It's a simple fact. You try getting a band bus for a trip out of Northern Ireland that day. You'll be over $1,000 per bus. This is a hobby. Prices for everything have crept up and up. But then do land a major on such a date? I can't help but think the people at HQ just really do not want the Northern Ireland bands there. Now, that is very understandable. If I was constantly being beaten on a football field, I would take my football home and play in my backyard. Though who benefits from that? I don't become a better football player just because I've removed the challenger.
Oh, now, Weekly Droner, you're getting all controversial on me. Come on, what are you doing to me? This is a family show. You're going to make me curse. But no, honestly, that has been banded around on social media saying that that was a motivating factor. And I can wholeheartedly deny it. That was not a motivating factor here. As you might have heard on last week's show, we did talk about all of this and how this decision came to be reached in the first place. And yeah, including the statement that we got from headquarters that did lay it out for us. That simply... there was no bid. There was nowhere willing to take this event here in Northern Ireland particularly. And whenever one bid did come across, then of course it was in Scotland, as we heard. And yes, the date is unfortunate. However, it was discussed at that board meeting and yeah, it was voted through. So it is what it is. And we mentioned it before on last week's pod that it is just better to have a major championship in the calendar, full stop. That's it. We've got 4 majors announced right now, and I think that's a promising start. Whenever you consider what happened last year in 2024, do I need to take you down memory lane? Yeah. Does anybody remember my Christmas parody video, me asking Santa Claus for 5 majors? Well, yeah, I didn't write a letter to Santa this year because we had 4 majors in the calendar already come the holidays. So I was quite happy. We are still waiting on that final announcement, right enough, on the final major championship to be added to our calendar. So we'll just have to wait and see on that front. We do have more updates, of course, from RSPBA Northern Ireland here for our local domestic calendar, and we will unpack that in the news and updates. We're starting to see more updates from around the globe as well on their own competitive calendars, which is brilliant to see. So keep it coming. The more dates that we can add into your calendars for piping events, the better. And I think that's kind of the message we want to take from all of this. Yes, we know that bands here in Northern Ireland are particularly upset by this. The 12th of July is a very important date for a lot of people here. It is a public holiday. Everything essentially shuts down for the day. And that's been the course of time, I guess, since I was here in Northern Ireland. Since I was born and reared, that's always happened. 12th of July, public holiday, everything closes. When you do mention about making travel arrangements on such a date, then, yeah, as you can imagine, the price will go through the roof. So, yeah, good luck to our bands who are planning to head to the UKs and to our drum majors as well who are making travel plans right now. There's been a number of them actually that have reached out to us here in the Big Rab Show asking if we could possibly help with hotel recommendations or even is there anywhere to get cheap flights, etc. So we are doing our best to help those who are planning on making that journey. But I think for all intents and purposes, there aren't too many that's going to be making that jaunt across the Irish Sea. Yeah. All right, well, controversy aside about taking your ball home, I guess. I honestly can't stand over that. So, Weekly Droner, I don't agree with you. I have to say I disagree with that one. We have spoke about this before, about other competitions that were held in Scotland, especially, in venues like Forres or even further afield than that, these are being organised so far away from Northern Ireland on purpose. No, absolutely not. I think the organisation of competitions really depends heavily on who is willing to hold them. And we've been talking about this on the show for a while now, about the organisation of competitions and the nuts and bolts and what makes it all work. And essentially it does all fall down to, well, number one, the RSPBA themselves who organise the competitions, but also to the local district councils and politicians and all of that help make it happen. So without that buy-in, you just can't make it work, I guess. So it's one of the things that the RSPBA do incredibly well. I have to give them their props. Whenever they do run a competition, it does run incredibly well. And for a long time, it has ran pretty seamlessly. And it's only in recent years, I guess post-COVID, where people have been taking a very keen interest into the nuts and bolts on how everything happens. So, well, I guess that'll be a continuing debate here on the show about whether it's been successful or not. I guess, for now, 4 majors in the calendar, as far as I'm concerned, is a result. It's a plus. It's better to have 4 majors than none at all. So, but at the same time, I do understand that the 12th of July is an incredibly important date, and hence the reason we talked all about it on last week's pod. So I know that's 3 weekly drones that we've addressed, 3 very different points of view on this matter, and I would urge you to go back and have a listen to last week's podcast. It's quite an important discussion and does put across the gravity of this decision to run this event on that date. However, we are hopeful for the future, 2026, 27, however long, we are hopeful for possible dates in the calendar much quicker next year and in the future. We'll have to wait and see on that front. All right, well, let's get away from the UK Championships, shall we? I believe we have some more weekly drones in relation to this weekend's event, Winter Storm. So, JD, lay the first weekly drone on us.
It's the weekly drone.
Winter Storm 2025. I've just seen the lineup of masterclass instructors for Winter Storm 2025. I have to say, it's more than a little disappointing to see that the organizers couldn't find a single woman to take on one of the 90 masterclass sessions that will be held over the weekend. 3 of the themes identified by the Women in Piping and Drumming survey recently published were 1. Lack of representation and visibility of women in piping and drumming. 2. Lack of community for women. And 3. Male-dominated environments. All clearly visible in the lineup at Winter Storm. Organizers of events like Winter Storm need to do better. The men invited to participate in these events also have a responsibility to ask who else is going to be there, and start refusing to participate if there are no women invited.
Weekly Droner. quite an interesting one, that. And yeah, discussing representation as part of the faculty at Winter Storm. The faculty have all been announced. They're up there now on the Winter Storm website. We did mention it all last week, and you're quite right in mentioning they're all fellas. There's not one woman in the middle of all of this. Now, I would argue, and I would agree with you on some regard, that definitely there's a lot of women in our piping world that would definitely be worthy of holding a workshop or, judging or doing anything else as part of the faculty team there at Winter Storm. However, we are not aware of what happened behind the scenes in the organisation of this event. Perhaps there has been women approached as part of this Winter Storm organisation saying, "Hi, can you come and be a part of the faculty?" We just don't know if that happened or not. Was there such approaches? Was people asked to come and judge or to, teach a masterclass? We just don't know. Perhaps all of these, requests were turned down. We have no idea, I guess. But, yeah, it's a fair point. Whenever you go to the Winter Storm website and you look at the list of the faculty, it's, just a full list of fellas. Now, whether these fellas, should ask, well, are there any women attending on the faculty? And if not, well, then I'm not turning up. I don't know if that's necessarily the right course of action to take here, but I do take your point. It is a fair question to ask. And, unfortunately, in this week's topic of the week, we did receive your weekly drone after we recorded our interview. So that's just a bit of bad timing on our behalf, I guess. But, yeah, it's a worthy question to ask of the organisers of Winter Storm. Now, I have to say, this will not take away from the event, I don't think. I think the lineup that they have as part of the faculty team, absolutely stellar, with some huge names all across the bagpiping world. Definitely, there will be some well worth classes worth attending, I have to say. Yeah. But, yeah, I do take your point. It is disappointing that we haven't seen more women as part of the faculty team. Yeah. However, I have to say, as part of the competitive scene as well, at Winter Storm, there's a lot of women involved here, competing at all levels, throughout all the different medals and grades and stuff, and it's fantastic to see. So, yeah, I guess that's representation, kinda. I guess. I don't know. Maybe this is something the Winter Storm can look at for future years now that this has been pointed out to them. And, well worth mentioning, I think, Weekly Droner, so thank you for that. Yeah. All right, let's move on. I think we've got another Weekly Drone, JD, haven't we, on Winter Storm?
It's the Weekly Drone.
Break a flippin' leg. No pressure. No panic, just good tone and good vibes. Allison Hildebrand, Seton Helwig, Lex Kincaid, Matt Biggs, and David McNally. Good luck at Winter Storm. Slay, Queens.
Slay, Queens. I think that's a testament there that no matter what you write in Weekly Drone, JD will say it. That's brilliant. Right there. But yeah, good luck to everyone that we've just listed there in Weekly Drone. Slay Queens, good luck to you. Have a good tune. We'll absolutely be tuning in to watch you all. And yeah, in particular, I have to give a shout out to Matt Biggs, actually, who kept me company in Glasgow Airport. After the World Championships this past year, yeah, I hung out with Matt for a little bit. So, yeah, shout out to you, Matt. So, yeah, good luck to absolutely everybody competing. And, yeah, break a leg. Slay Queens, if that's the new term now. I don't know. I've been learning a lot of new phrases, I guess. My son has been telling me that he is Gen Z, or Gen Z, as they would say in America. And I've been learning a lot of new, language from his generation. I guess. I am very proudly Gen X, I have to say. So all of this is kind of alien to me, but I am learning a lot. So, yeah, I'm certainly not going to speak it on the podcast here. There's a lot of, Gen Z slang that I have no clue what it means. And instead of me, I don't know, rhyming it all off on a podcast here and embarrassing myself, I shall move swiftly onwards. But yeah, good luck to all of our competitors there, as mentioned in Weekly Drone, and to everyone who's lifting an instrument this weekend. Yeah, have a good tune. All right, well, that's pretty much it for Weekly Drones. I think I should wrap it up there. We do have more in the system, but I would encourage you, if you do have your own particular weekly drone that you would like to submit to us, then please do. Yeah, head to our website, thebigrabshow.com. There's a big button right at the top of the page and called Weekly Drone. Click on that and you can let us know your story, warts and all, and we'll bring it here to the pod. Yeah, no matter how controversial. I think this week we've kind of tap danced on some landmines there, haven't we? Yeah, with some points well made, I believe. So yeah, shout out to you weekly droners out there, whoever you are. Yeah, the open mic on the bagpiping world is definitely working, and it's fantastic to hear. So keep your opinions coming in, folks. Definitely worthy conversations to be had, so keep your opinions coming in. All right, I think at this point I'm going to take myself a wee break before we get into the news and updates. Yeah, of which there are plenty. Do you wish piping could be fun again? Bagpipers around the world continue to struggle with their instrument, despite hours of hard work trying to get better. Bagpiping should be fulfilling. Your hard work should pay off, showing improvement and the freedom to express yourself musically. Or why do it? The Dojo University believe every piper should be able to free themselves from musical frustration, proven over more than a decade of successful teaching and accessible anywhere with an internet connection. The Dojo is unlike any other bagpipe learning experience in the world. Let the Dojo channel your enthusiasm into a fun and fulfilling program that will empower you with the knowledge to fall in love with piping all over again. So go to dojouniversity.com/Big Rab and take advantage of our 30-day free trial of Dojo Premium membership. Join the global community of students today and rediscover the fun of bagpiping. dojouniversity.com/Big Rab for a 30-day free trial. Ready to take your playing to the next level? Say hello to the ES Session Chanter, the ultimate practice chanter designed for versatility and durability. Crafted from stainless steel and aluminium, the chanter comes equipped for both an A stem and a B flat stem, giving you the freedom to play along with any instrument, anytime, anywhere. Whether at a band practice or a trad session, the ES Session Chanter keeps pace with your creativity. Included with the chanter is the custom carbon carry case, the perfect addition to this compact and tactile instrument. To get yours, head to essessionchanter.co.uk. Okay, time for all the news and updates. Now, folks, honestly, there's a lot. I don't know, this past week it's just went boogaloo, as they say, with regards to news and updates, and it's kind of disorientating, there's so many, but we're going to do our best to get through it all. Alright, so again, if there is any story that has hit the cutting room floor for whatever reason, then, yeah, let us know and say, "Hey, Rab, you forgot to mention something." Then, yeah, let us know, email us in bigrabshow@gmail.com. Alright. Now, first of all, I have to give a shout out to good friends of ours here at the Big Rab Show, to Harris Kilts. Yes, Harris Kilts and Belfaster, of course, were good friends of ours for a long time, and even supporters of ours here through a sponsorship here on the Big Rab Show for a period of time. The reason we're giving Harris Kilts a good shout on the show this week is because, well, they're going to be on our telly here in Northern Ireland as part of a 2-part documentary series called Tartan Tales. Yeah, where the cameras are pretty much a fly on the wall at the Harris Kilt Company's shop. And yeah, we're looking forward to seeing the workings that's going on behind the scenes there. So yeah, shout out to Graham and to Kim, of course. We're very much looking forward to seeing this weekend. So yeah, shout out to Harris Kilt and a very exciting documentary which will be airing on Sunday, 19th of January, 10 p.m. on BBC Two Northern Ireland. Of course, it'll be available on the iPlayer as well for those of you who do happen to miss it, and you can go and watch it again on catch up. There you are. All right, now I'm going to throw a whole lot of dates at you. All right. It seems to be this is the time for announcing dates and stuff. And we got a bit of criticism on last week's pod that that's all we were doing, was shouting out dates and stuff. All right, let's start at the beginning, shall we? Okay, this weekend, Friday the 17th of January, sees an invitational solo piping competition hosted by St. Joseph's Pipe Band. Yes, doors open, of course, in Clondalkin at 7 p.m. With a start time at 7:30, and they've announced the lineup as well. For more information on this competition and who they've invited along to tread the boards, go and check out St. Joseph's Pipe Band on their socials. And looking forward to this one just this weekend. Yeah, Friday the 17th here locally in Northern Ireland, the St. Joseph's Pipe Band Invitational Pipe and Solo event. There you go. Also, the Pipe Major Donald MacLeod MBE Memorial Competitions have also announced their dates as well. The first one's going to be held in Stornoway on the 27th of March. The next one's going to be the following day. And so the first one's for the juniors, second one's for the seniors. There you are. For more info on that, go and check out the Lewis and Harris Piping Society on their socials, where they've announced those details of those memorial competitions. There you are. Apparently, there's also going to be a Ceilidh event on the 20th after the senior competition, so get to that as well. There you are. Okay, speaking of dates, the RSPBA Northern Ireland branch, as we mentioned, had announced quite a number of dates in their own domestic calendar. All of those are available now up on their socials, so I'm not going to go through each and every one of them. But dates so far that have been confirmed are the 26th of April is the County Antrim Indoor Full Band Competition being held in Antrim. Now, that one I'm really excited about, actually. It's been a while since I've been at a full band indoor competition, so looking forward to that. 26th of April in Antrim. Then, of course, the season kicks off good and proper here in Northern Ireland on the 24th of May with the County Fermanagh Championships in Enniskillen. Then we have the 7th of June for the Mid-Ulsters in Cookstown. Then we have a few competitions that are TBC. Throughout the month of June. Then, of course, we have the All-Irelands that we spoke about last week. That's going to be held in Derry/Londonderry, and 5th of July. That date should already be in your diary right there. We also have a date for the 19th of July for Newtonards. Yeah, so I assume that's the Ards and North Down competition. I guess that will be taking place then. We also have the 72nd Ulster Championships scheduled for Portrush on the 2nd of August. Yep, the Ulsters are going to the Port, boys. And Portrush is an incredibly popular venue. Really looking forward to this. Although I don't think it's in Rammorehead anymore. I think it has moved to a different part of the town. Either way, don't care. Portrush is a cracking venue for a competition. It's brilliant to see it back again. And hosting the Ulsters. There you go. The rest of the dates on the calendar for Northern Ireland are all TBC, to be confirmed. So I guess we'll just have to wait and see on that front. Interestingly, though, on the 9th of August, as you know, we're hosting the European Championships in Perth. Well, the Northern Ireland branch are running a minor competition on the same date. Apparently, they got permission from headquarters to run a minor competition on the same date as a major. This doesn't often happen, but in order to give Northern Ireland bands a run out ahead of the World Championships, I think this has been accommodated. Yeah, so details on that remain unconfirmed. We don't know where it's going to be held yet, but 9th of August is the Euros in Perth, and there'll also be a competition on this side of the Irish Sea, that date too. Interesting. All right, well, that's it for the RSPBA Northern Ireland dates. I didn't go through all of them, but if you do want to check them out, again, go to the RSPBA Northern Ireland on their social media. There you are. All right. I have to talk about a news story that dropped the same day that our podcast dropped last week, and we didn't manage to get into this story in any great way. I'm still confused about this, okay? Now, if anybody from the Kilmarnock area can tell me what the heck is going on, because I don't think anybody really understands this. There was a statement that was published on Kilmarnock Pipe Band on their socials to say, well, I'll read it and see if you guys can figure it out. It says, as there are now 3 pipe bands in Kilmarnock, to save confusion and create the opportunity for all 3 bands to thrive, they have decided to rename themselves. They're going to be called the East Ayrshire Caledonian Pipe Band, or ECAL for short. Ratified by Oscar, this officially came into effect on Tuesday the 7th of January, and it starts an exciting new chapter here in East Ayrshire. Yeah, so Kilmarnock Pipe Band, who have been around for almost a century, have now suddenly decided to change their name to ECAL. Now, as you can imagine, this news story drew a lot of attention online, and a lot of people incredibly upset by this, that they're essentially throwing away 90 to 100 years worth of history of the Kilmarnock Pipe Band, throwing it away for a rebrand. Now, there's been a bit of an argument as well as to who exactly the three pipe bands are in the Kilmarnock area. I think ourselves in the Rab Show were able to figure out that I think the other two were school pipe bands. Now, that could be stuff that Rab got wrong, and we're quite happy to say that we're wrong if we are, so let us know. But this is such a confusing story. What motivated the sudden name change? Why? Why need to change the name and lose all that history? The rebranding to ECAL, the East Ayrshire Caledonian Pipe Band. I don't know. This is just very confusing. And I think looking at the online commentary around this, that is the overriding feeling. Everyone is just super, super confused on this and just don't understand the motivation behind it. So, I don't know. I don't know enough to have an opinion. Does that make sense? I'm just very confused about it all. Number one, I would love to know who the three pipe bands are in the Kilmarnock area. Number two, I want to know why they felt the need to rebrand to allow the bands to thrive. Did the bands not thrive with their existing names? And the East Ayrshire Caledonia Pipe Band, what made you land on that name? Interesting. So if anybody out there does have any thoughts or opinions, or even are aware of the situation about what's going on there at East Ayrshire Caledonia, ECAL, let us know. It's a story that, there's so many opinions flying around, we just don't know who to listen to. So, yeah, we always love to hear the story from the horse's mouth. Unfortunately, their statement online didn't make an awful lot of sense, and we were left with our head scratching, I guess. So we now have a band called ECAL instead of Kilmarnock, and that's it, I guess. So, yeah, shout out to the ECAL now. Yeah, there you go. All right, so from confusion, I guess, in the Kilmarnock area to absolute devastation to the western United States. Yeah, I'm sure by now you've possibly already seen the news and everything of the devastating wildfires that is taking place in Los Angeles in particular. Our hearts absolutely go out to everybody who've been affected by this. Since last week's podcast, we've heard more horrific stories of all sorts of venues and people who've been terribly affected by this. We're aware that one such competition that we were talking about in our previous pod, a solo competition, the venue for it actually burnt down. And there's quite a number of pipers and drummers who are also been caught up in the middle of all of this and have lost absolutely everything. It is honestly horrific whenever you look at the footage that you see on the news and you hear the stories of the people out there in the western United States. Now, you might be saying to yourself, what's this got to do with piping and drumming? Well, there was a statement published from the Western United States Pipe Band Association, the WUSPBA, who were saying about their pipe band community out there in the western United States and basically saying words of support to the first responders who are helping people in the area. Also, I believe that there will be all sorts of different fundraising efforts and things like that when bands are trying to get back off the ground again and trying to rebuild. Now, we're not aware of what those plans are for now. We are certainly keeping across any updates in that regard. So we do know there's a lot of people who are very keen to help. And yeah, if there are any such fundraisers and things like that, then we'll be doing our best to share those efforts out there for sure. So, yeah, just to let you know that those of you out there in the western United States, you're not alone. All of your piping and drumming family across the globe are all thinking about you. And, yeah, we are aware of quite a number of pipe bands in particular who have lost practice venues. And a lot of pipers, drummers have lost practice spaces. And in some cases, even their homes and livelihoods. It's been awful to watch, and it's one of those things where we're stuck here in Northern Ireland feeling helpless. Just watching the news and just thinking of all of our friends over there. It's horrible. So from all of us here in the Big Rab Show, our heart goes out to all of you. You have our full support. If there is any sort of fundraising efforts and things like that, then please do get in contact with us. We would absolutely love to help as best we can. The email address, bigrabshow@gmail.com. We did get a statement from the LA Scots Pipe Band. Of course, we put it out there, I think it was July 9th they published this, and it said, thank you to everyone who's been reaching out to the band and its members to check in, given the devastating fires that happened across Southern California. At last report, everybody is present and accounted for, but a few band members do have houses and families impacted in the areas. We send our heartfelt thanks to the hundreds of firefighters and emergency services personnel that are working to battle these catastrophic fires, and we also send much love to our Scottish community friends also being impacted and the wider community as a whole. Absolutely. So it's a horrible story, folks. Yes, I know it's not exactly piping related, but I have to say that a lot of our piping family have been affected by this. And we just wanted to send out best wishes. And let us know if there's anything we can do to help here on the Rab Show. We're more than happy to jump in and possibly help if we can. There you are. All right. So I want to talk about another, confusing few news stories, not just one. Now, do you remember last week, whenever I mentioned there was an article published in the Scottish newspaper called The Scotsman that was talking about the decline of bagpiping, and that bagpiping's on its way out because the website Gear for Music aren't selling bagpipes. Yeah, they're selling more kazoos than they do sell bagpipes. Do you remember that headline? Well, it's the confusion reigns here in the UK at the minute, because as soon as that article was published and we spoke about it on the podcast, well, then there was a counter. There was a counter article published in, what's called The National. The national newspaper in Scotland published a counter story to say bagpiping is absolutely thriving. Now, yeah, they got statements from top industry experts and asked them what their opinions were and if the bagpiping scene was dying. And of course, the experts came back and told them, absolutely not. We've never been more busy. The bagpiping world is thriving. And I think even ourselves in the Big Rab Show, we were quoted, actually, in one of our articles to say that the article published in The Scotsman was absolute nonsense and that our piping scene has never been better. So, I'm glad you grabbed that quote and not something else. And then as soon as that article was published in The National saying that the bagpiping world was brilliant, there was another one saying that, it's on its way out and nobody's buying bagpipes anymore. What is going on? Now, honestly, at this point now, we have stopped sharing the articles. There's been so many of them published, and it seems to be a bit of a newspaper war that's going on. One newspaper says that piping's on its road out. The next newspaper says, oh no, piping's brilliant. I don't know. I guess this is when the media can't make up their mind, and when journalists, I'm sorry to say, aren't doing their due diligence and actually doing their research. There's been some articles published that's basically been a copy and paste from other resources, other newspapers. And it's been a little bit of a disaster. But it seems to be newspapers are interested in filling their columns with something rather than actually doing some investigative journalism and reporting the facts as they stand. So I guess for everyone who's been sending us copies of these articles to say that bagpiping is in the doldrums, or for those of you who've been sending us articles saying that bagpiping is thriving, I just don't know what's going on in the media at the minute, but my advice to you is just to ignore all of those articles that are being published in the national press here in the UK, because whenever you look at the sources that they went to for comment, then you can kind of see either the article is plausible and you can, I guess, take it as gospel, or there's others where you have to consider your sources. I still don't know if anyone goes on Gear for Music to buy bagpipes. Yeah. As a result of me talking about this last week, a good number of you did visit the website and, agreed with me and said, dear goodness, Rab, you would never buy bagpipes off of Gear for Music. You can do your own research in that regard and draw your own conclusions. But the pipes that you could buy on Gear for Music, they're even worse than the ones you can buy on Amazon. And that's saying something right there. Don't even get me started on eBay bagpipes. Yikes. All right, I wasn't going to get into this story. I'm not going to name the person, but they emailed us through the week. All right, because we were talking about buying bagpipes and stuff. and they sent us a link to an eBay page, right? So, Rab, I have my eye on this set of pipes. They're being sold for like 1,500 quid. Do you think they're any good? Sent me a link to the eBay page. I went to it, had a look at it. Folks, I can't even describe to you what was in the image. I think the best way to put it across is how I described it last week. Is that, do you remember whenever I was saying that, you know, there was very light brown woods being used, possibly rosewood, and then the tartan bag cover. I think as soon as you see the tartan bag cover, it's kind of a giveaway, isn't it? You know, with the red tassels and everything. Yeah, and the seller had it in, you know, the description that these were for display purposes only. Well, then why are you selling them for $1,500? I don't know. Anyway, so this person was genuinely just about to buy these and decided to reach out to a podcaster to see whether they're any good or not. Now, I am not a quality assurance type of guy. You shouldn't be coming to me to say, "Hi, is this set of pipes any good or not?" Please don't do that. Don't put us in that position. My advice is, if you are buying bagpipes on eBay, please be incredibly careful. You do need to be very aware as to what you're buying if you're buying on eBay. You need to ask a lot of questions about the origin of the bagpipes and their condition before you should even dare to click on buy. That's my advice. Well, if anything, my advice is to go to a reputable distributor. Or even you can go to many other sources online other than eBay. There are tons of different outlets out there that are very keen to help budding musicians pick up their first instrument, or an instrument that's definitely going to be worthy of their time, rather than buying something and potentially being ripped off, you know, with buying those tartan bag cover bagpipes. Don't even get me started. Right, I'm going down a rabbit hole. I wasn't even going to get into that story, but hey, forgive me. But yeah, please don't put us in that position. We are not we're not here to quality assure your purchases. Just take our advice. Go to a reputable piping dealer. Like we've mentioned here, Kingdom Thistle absolutely will take care of you. Wallace Bagpipes are another one. And others who have supported us throughout the years. There's countless ones now. And honestly, each one of them definitely worth their salt. And of course, our main show sponsor, G1 Reeds. If you're ever looking at a set of pipes and you want quality, yeah, shout out to G1, to Wallace, Kingdom Thistle. All those products and services that help support our show here, absolutely we would recommend them for sure. That's why they're on the show. Yeah. All right. Let's give a shout this week to the Air Pipe Band Society, who put quite an interesting advert on their socials just this past week, saying that drummers are required. Yeah, the band is currently looking to recruit a brand new lead tipper and additional snare drummers to join them in their ranks for Grade 3B this incoming season. So, if you are interested in taking up the role of either a core player, or indeed if you have experience and would like to take up the leadership role, then please do contact the Air Pipe Band Society. They are rapidly recruiting right now. So do contact them. Air Pipe Band Society, on the lookout for drummers and a lead tipper for Grade 3B this incoming year. There you are. Also, I have to give a shout out to Ebal, who appeared on last week's Big Rab Show. And I do know a good number. He actually ran out and bought that new single, Vakashamari. Fantastic. I'm so glad I highlighted it on last week's show because it's just a fantastic track. If you haven't listened to it yet, seriously, go along, check out Ebal on all of their socials and stuff. They've been plugging it now like crazy. And today, actually, they just released the music video for it as well. It's a fantastic track. Go and check it out. Shout out to Eval. Very entertaining stuff. Okay, I have to give a shout out to Burnt Island and District Pipe Band, who put it out on their socials that they're hosting a piping recital by none other than Douglas Murray. Whoa! Yeah. Seriously, I can't wait for this. So, Douglas Murray hosting a piping recital on the 15th of March. For full details, of course, check out Burnt Island Pipe Band on their socials. And yeah, tickets are a tenner. And for full details on where you can grab those, I think you can contact any member of Burnt Island and District Pipe Band. So that's going to be very exciting right there. It's going to be held in Burnt Island, of course, and Fife itself on the 15th of March. Get that date in your diary. A piping recital by Douglas Murray. Okay, have to give a shout out this week to the William Kerr Memorial Pipe Band, who are currently on the lookout, actually, for experienced players. Yeah, they put a call on their social media saying that they're actively looking and recruiting for anyone with experience in particular, wanting to take up the challenge with playing with the William Kerr Memorial. They do want to speak to you. So, if you want to, you can contact them on their socials, William Kerr Memorial, or you can contact Ali Kerr on his socials as well if you are interested in competing with the band. Yeah. Also, another announcement for a date in your diary is the 21st and 22nd of February sees the European Knockout Piping Ireland Qualifier event. Yes, this one's going to be all sorts of exciting. As I've mentioned, for full details, you can go and check the IPBA website where they've announced it. That's the Ardmore Cup Invitational as well. So the players for that include Alistair Donaghy, James Fraser, Ashley McMichael, Alan Tully, James Stone, Willie McCallum, Angus McCall, Finlay Johnson, and apparently there's 2 more invitations that are outstanding. So there you go. Full information on all of this about the EKO, the European Knockout Competition, and the Ardmore Cup. Then, get yourself along to the IPBA, but all those details are now published. There you are. So, just to let you know, the EKO, in case you haven't heard about it before, the European Knockout Competition, a winner of this competition gets to play in the EKO final, which is taking place in Germany next year. So for a chance to go and compete in Germany, why not? There you go. Exciting stuff. Shout out to the IPBA. Very exciting announcement there. Okay, before we get into the next news story then, I have to give a bit of a shameless plug to the Big Rab Show YouTube channel. We've been working away furiously over there on our content this last while, and we've been periodically releasing the odd little bit of video gold. So if you haven't checked that out yet, then please do go and check out the Big Rab Show on YouTube. Definitely worthy of your time. Plus, drop us a wee subscribe as well. It doesn't cost you anything. But when we're talking about the Rab Show on YouTube, of course, we have to talk about Rab Reacts. Yeah. Now, this last while, we've been putting a call out for anyone who does have any unusual piping videos for me to react to. Now, we've been getting a few of them in, and some of the videos that we got don't have bagpiping in them. So, less said about that, the better. But if you do have any videos of a bagpiping variety that you would like me to react to and post it on YouTube, then, send it in to us. bigrabshow@gmail.com. All you have to do is send us in the YouTube link and we'll do the rest. Yeah, I'll put it up on the screen here and react to it, I guess, in as most honest a way as possible. If you haven't seen any of those previous episodes of Rab Reacts, then just type that into YouTube and you'll find it. There's tons of episodes there of Rab Reacts, some good, some not so good. Either way, they're all up there now on our YouTube channel, Rab Reacts. So send us in your own suggestions, bigrabshow@gmail.com, and we'll get them recorded. Okay, now last week we did mention about an upcoming concert from St. Lawrence O'Toole. Now, unfortunately, we did mention that it was happening in April. That was wrong. It's not happening in April at all. It's happening in May. In fact, the 17th of May. Yes, it's going to be called The Lark in the Evening. Whoa! Very cool. Now, I think the reason they've called it this is because the venue it's going to be held in is called The Lark. It's called The Lark Concert Hall. This is in Balbriggan, of course. So 17th of May, tickets are available now. St. Lawrence O'Toole Pipe Band in concert. Man, that's going to be a gig to get to right there. Now, the tickets are €35 plus a booking fee, so they're kind of pricey, but trust me, this is going to sell out quickly. Okay, so go along to thelark.ie, grab your tickets for it. The Lark in concert. Whew. This is going to be all sorts of special, man. I don't know. Wow. So Lawrence O'Toole hitting the stage 17th of May. That's exciting right there. So we're all heading to Balbriggan then, are we? Also, just wanted to mention that on the 19th of April sees 2 concerts happening in Scotland. And to be honest, we weren't sure which one to go to ourselves. And then we seen a statement coming out here from the National Youth Pipe Band of Scotland, putting the record straight. Okay, now what am I talking about? Well, on the 19th of April, of course, sees a huge concert by Police Scotland Fife, hosted by Bucksburn District. Yeah, we've been mentioning that on the show now for a number of weeks now. But also on the same date is the concert being held by the National Youth Pipe Band of Scotland. Yikes. So both concerts happening at exactly the same time. So you have at the Royal Concert Hall, the National Youth Band, and then up the road in Aberdeen, you have Fife Police hitting the stage. So I don't know. It's up to you which one you want to go to. I don't know. You could flip a coin and end up with this, a blistering concert. Either way, we know both bands can put on a fantastic show. So the 19th of April in Glasgow is going to be a very busy time, as well as the 19th of April in Aberdeen. Wow. Good luck to anyone trying to make up their mind which show to go to right there. Yeah, that won't be easy. But yes, we will be talking more about the Police Scotland 5 concert as it draws closer. Thanks to our good mates there at Bucksburn District. We are definitely looking forward to hopefully attending this. We are, putting a lot of work in behind the scenes as to what we can do coverage-wise, and we'll hopefully be bringing you action from that concert from the mighty Fife Polis. We do have a bit of an interview lined up, actually, with the Pipe Major and lead tipper of Fife Polis, which we hope to bring you on next week's show. So if you do want to hear more about that concert, then tune in to next week's pod. There you go. Bit of a preview for you. But just to let you know, that's what's happening on the 19th of April. 2 concerts simultaneously. Yikes. Where do you go? I have no idea. That's up to you. Good luck. Okay, I have to give a bit of a shameless plug to another event that's happening on the 7th of February in the Valley Hotel in 5 Mile Town. Yes, an audience with Terry Tully. Oh, do you know, I'm loving these events now. Yeah, we've seen a few of these crop up last year where I think Richard Parks held an event like this, an audience with Richard Parks. Well, this one is an audience with Terry Tully. Wow. So this one's being held on the 7th of February, as I mentioned. Get that date in your diary, folks. And shout out to the Irvine Memorial Pipe Band from Clabby and County Fermanagh. This is going to be a fantastic event because not only will Terry Tully be on stage taking questions from the audience, but also we'll have Stephen Crichton and Brendan Murphy. Yes, of course, they've all appeared on the show here before, but wow, I don't know, the stories that these guys could tell and the advice that can be given as well. Oh man, I just don't know where to begin with this. Absolute legends in the piping scene. And of course, you're going to want to be in that audience. So for full information, of course, go and check out the Irvine Memorial Pipe Band for all of your ticket information. Or you can go to Fermanagh and Omagh District Council, where they have tickets available for that as well. Now, it's not long until the doors open. 7th of February is just around the corner. So avoid disappointment. Get your tickets. The tickets are free, actually. But, get them because the ticket guarantees entry. There you are. So, shout out to everyone there at Irvine Memorial. That's such an exciting evening planned with Terry Tully, Stephen Crichton and Brendan Murphy. 7th of February in the Valley Hotel in 5 Mile Town. Oh man, I don't know. I'm going to have to go to that. Okay, just wanted to remind you, before we get into this week's topic, that auditions for this year's Edinburgh Military Tattoo are still open, but they are closing on the 24th of January. So, if you do want to be a part of the Piper's Trail and be part of the Royal Edinburgh Military Tattoo, then go and follow all your links. We've shared it out a few times now. I don't know. This event is just iconic and world famous for a good reason. Every piper and drummer at some point in their life has wanted to be a part of the Edinburgh Tattoo. So if you do want to make that dream a reality, then go now. Yeah, I think this one will be quite a special one actually, because this is going to be the 75th Edinburgh Tattoo. Yeah, 75th Royal Edinburgh Military Tattoo to give its full title. So again, type it into your search engine and the auditions are open all the way through to the 24th of January. Act now and avoid disappointment is the rule of thumb. There you are. So auditions are closing soon. Okay, now I'm not going to go through all of these dates here, but there's a lot of pipe bands out there that are running Burns Night celebrations. Okay, just wanted to throw it out there. If your band is running a Burns Night or a celebration of any kinds to do around the Burns season, then please do let us know here in the Rab Show, and we're more than happy to help promote it on our socials. So please do drop us a line, bigrabshow@gmail.com, and we'll help promote your upcoming Burns Night. And all the very best to all the pipers out there who'll be piping in haggises all across the world. So, Burns Night's fast approaching, actually. So, shout out to all you bands, pipers, drummers who are going to be celebrating Burns in the next few weeks. Send those details into us and we'll do our best to plug it on our socials, Also, just going to drop it into conversation. Tickets are now available for the Belfast International Tattoo. Yeah, get your tickets bought is my instruction. This date's it's happening on the 5th and 6th of September. There's 3 shows available in total, and tickets apparently are flying fast, actually. Yeah, I'm not sure why they're going as quick as they are, but hey, it's brilliant news, you know? It shows that this event is continuing to get bigger and better. So, if you are planning to go to the Belfast Tattoo, my advice is grab tickets early when you can. Yeah, 5th and 6th of September. That won't be long and rolling round. Belfast International Tattoo. That's going to be such an exciting event this year. I'm looking forward to it. Okay, going to briefly mention that there's dates in our calendar now thanks to pipe bands in Queensland in Australia. On the 23rd of February, we're heading to Holland Park. There you go. 2nd of March, we're in Warwick. And the 29th of March, we're in Wynnum. I could be completely pronouncing that wrong. Yeah, on the 19th of April, we're heading to the Maclean. 10th of May, we're going to South Brisbane for the St Andrews competition. 31st of May sees us in Ipswich then for the Ipswich contest. And then, wrapping things up on the 21st of June, we're going to the Brisbane Boys College there in Toowong. There you are. Yeah, which is the Queensland Pipe Band Championships themselves to wrap up the season. So yeah, for full information, of course, on your dates down under in Queensland, then go along to Pipe Bands Queensland on their socials. Yeah. pipebandqueensland.com for full details on all those events. If you do have any details of events happening in New Zealand or Australia or further afield, then please do let us know. We're very keen to talk about it here on the show if we possibly can. So yeah, drop those details into us. Yeah. All right, I have to give a shout out to Preston Lodge, who are going to be hosting a bit of a concert. And Preston Lodge High School Pipe Band going to be in concert on the 4th of February. You can go and grab tickets for it on eventbrite.com. So tickets for this are available now. And I don't know, Preston Lodge in concert? What's not to love about that? So for full details, rather than me getting into lost in the weeds at this point, 4th of February, 7 p.m. in Preston Lodge High School, the pipe band will be hitting the stage. Go and secure your tickets if you are a PL fan, and go and check out the band hitting the boards. Good stuff. All right. So before we get into this week's topic of the week, now, I promise we're going to get there. We will get there. But I have to give a shout out to the Isle of Arran Music School, who just today actually released a brand new track called MV Glen Sannox. Yes. Now, this was written to welcome in the newest addition to the Calmac fleet, of course, those fleet of ferries that help service the island. Yeah. So the Arran Music School are performing on this. All of the pupils are there, and it has been, written by Scott Figgins. Yeah. And alongside the band themselves are also Erska. Yeah, so for fans of trad and folk, there's a lot to enjoy here, but also for fans of good old piping and drumming, go and check that out as well. So for the Isle of Arran Music School Pipe Band are involved. Absolutely brilliant. MV Glen Sannox, definitely worthy of your time. I can definitely say we're going to play that on Fuse this week. It's a cracker. So yeah, shout out to the Isle of Arran Music School. Yeah, I really love this new track, and go and check it out. There you are. All right. I know there's a lot of news stories that have hit the cutting room floor. I haven't even spoken about the latest release that we got from Lincoln Hilton, where he talked about, he released a video of him playing 3 jigs. Okay? But it kind of defies logic. If anyone's even seen the video from Lincoln Hilton, you know exactly what I'm talking about. It's absolutely blistering. That's all. Just go and check it out. Shout out to Lincoln Hilton, who continues to melt our face every time we watch him. Shout out to Modern Piping and Lincoln Hilton. There's tons of other stories as well. There's the City of Adelaide Pipe Band who are looking for a new lead tipper, for example. There's more dates across. The Kids with Cancer Night have been putting out more announcements, adding to their lineup and everything. We have Lisbeg Pipe Band, who have an upcoming fundraising concert, and they have an announcement that the County Armagh School of Drum Majors are going to be at that, along with Jordan McElmurray. Come on. There's a serious amount of piping and drumming happening, even right now, at this point. Yeah. Shout out to the Blackthorn Piping Society, who are live right now as I'm recording this. Right. See, this is the problem. The bagpiping world is so vibrant at the minute, it's difficult to keep up with every story. So, I guess there's something that just has to hit the cutting room floor at some point. So, yeah, please do email us in if there's anything that we have missed this week, and we'll do our best to cover it next week. bigrabshow@gmail.com. Oh, there's another thing I didn't even mention. The Vale of Athol Junior competition is happening. Yeah, Saturday the 18th of January, this weekend, the full draw for the junior competition has been published. It's up there now on the Vale of Atholl Pipe Band socials. And seriously, this competition is huge. So if you are heading to Pitlochry High School this weekend, good luck, have a good tune, and good luck to all of the competitors and judges and to all the organising committee behind the scenes. That's a huge event there. Shout out to the Vale of Atholl. And yeah, this event happening this weekend, their junior competition. Wow. Right. Seriously, I need to move on. I think it's time for me to go and get a big cup of tea. It's time for the topic of the week. Kingdom Thistle Pipe Band Supplies. For all your pipe band and marching band needs. Supplying everything from uniforms and instruments to custom-designed bass drum heads. They offer it all. Not forgetting their exclusive Kingdom Gilly Brogues and George Boots, crafted by bands for bands. Kingdom Thistle provides expert product advice and an industry-leading drum refurbishment service to keep your equipment in top-class condition. Also, shipping worldwide. So, stop by their store in Fife or visit them online at kingdomthistle.com for all your pipe band and marching needs. Wallace Bagpipes. Quality, pride and passion. Made in Scotland. Proud bagpipe supplier to the Red Hot Chili Pipers. From the most basic of sets to the most elaborate, they have something for everyone. Also offering bagpipe repairs and restoration. From a simple makeover to a full overhaul. From a chipped mount to a complete replacement. Wallace Bagpipes have you covered. Visit wallacebagpipes.com for more information or contact your nearest dealer. Ah, yes. Time for Topic of the Week. Finally. Yeah, as we've been talking about all throughout this show, of course, with all those weekly dronings at the beginning and everything, Winter Storm is this weekend. And seriously, folks, I am suffering from severe fear of missing out. Yeah. Do you know, like, for this last 2 or 3 days, people have been checking in at the airport and stuff and, like, taking photographs of their pint and saying, on my way to Kansas City. Meanwhile, I'm stuck in an office in my day job. It's pouring with rain outside, and I would definitely love to be in an airport bar, supping a pint and waiting on a flight, and ready for some blistering piping. So, yeah, shout out to all of you who have been travelling across to Kansas for this weekend's activity. I cannot tell you how excited I am for Winter Storm. There is so much to get into with this event, with the live streaming, of course, from our good friends at the dojo, and everything else, the competitions, the concerts, Winter Steam, and the merch as well. The Winter Storm merch, man, is just brilliant. Anyway, let's get into this week's topic good and proper. Of course, with the event opening its doors tomorrow, on the 16th of January, I took an opportunity to catch up with the president of the Midwest Highland Arts Fund, Mark Fullington, to hear all about this event and his thoughts on it as well. So, without any further ado, let's welcome Mark to the podcast. How are you, Mark? You well?
Doing well, Rab. Thank you for having me on the show.
Well, thank you for joining us. Well, if anything, tomorrow, one of the biggest events kicks off. Can you tell us then, are you excited for Winter Storm this year?
Absolutely. I'm excited about it every year. I've been doing this for 15 plus years now, and I still get excited every year that it comes around. There's always something new and better, and it's just being around that group of people and the energy that shows up to that event. It's like nothing else. So very excited about it coming around again. And yeah, it's just right on the doorstep. So here we go.
Excellent. So can you tell us about this year's event then? What can people expect from this year's Winter Storm?
Well, there are every year some little new elements. And, this year we've got some faculty that's not been here in the past. Vern McQuillan will be joining us, so that's pretty exciting. He brings obviously a lot of energy with him when he comes. We've got Gary West. He'll be here for the first time, handling our small pipes instruction. and performing in the concert as well. Michael Gray will be here with us, so that's a first time for him as well. Donald McPhee, and Owen Russell. Don't want to leave out Owen Russell. He'll be here teaching our tenor courses. So we've got a handful of new faculty, which I think is always exciting. It's always good to have that element of new.
Excellent. So some new blood added to the ranks there of the alumni, I guess. Yeah. So I have to ask then, obviously a huge part of Winter Storm is the competition itself, which is so popular. It seems to have a huge entry of competitors each year. Is that the case for this year as well?
It is, and it's incredible to see the amount of demand for those competitions. We opened up our competitions entries on October 1st, and we opened them up at noon on October 1st. And really, sometimes within 30 minutes or an hour, all the competition slots are booked. So that's great to see. It doesn't take very long. So we do keep a wait list too, just in the event that someone's not able to make it, so that those people can be moved up into the competitions. But the demand is incredible. I just wish we had more space to meet some of that demand as we've had in the past. We did back during the COVID years lose about half of our space. One of the hotels that we relied on to put our event on that doubled the room space that we had closed down, and they've since taken the building away. So we have to try to do everything in a much smaller space now. It's a little bit more challenging to meet some of that demand. But it is incredible to see how much demand there is for those contests.
Yeah, I was going to ask you about the venue change. So that was the thrust behind it, really, is that the venue you were in shut down?
Right. There was a Holiday Inn hotel next door to the Marriott, which is the primary hotel that we hold this in, and they closed it down, and they've now knocked it down, and it's going to be redeveloped. So we used to have double the space, so we could fit all the contests in one day. We did everything on the Friday, and then did the workshops and the concert on Saturday, and workshops again on Sunday. But losing that space, it was tricky. The only real answer we had, since we didn't have the space, was to add an extra day. So we now have the amateur contests on a Thursday, and then the professionals on Friday. So it's a little bit more challenging thing, I think, for some to come to take that extra day to travel, to be in the hotel and to do the event. But unfortunately, that was just a set of circumstances that was handed to us, and we've done the best we can to deal with it.
Absolutely. Well, if anything, it's a pivot that seems to have worked really well, I have to say. Feedback following COVID and the recent events has been nothing short of incredible. I think everyone who's attended the event loved it. And that's not like us piping folk. Normally we love to complain about stuff, But that has been the feedback. Have you been hearing that yourself, Mark?
Yes, it's we always get a lot of positive feedback. It is a fun event. It's hard to describe what's different about it and what makes it what it is, but I think maybe even more so now that we are all in one building, is all that energy gets contained in one space. And because it is a fairly close space, there's just a lot of interaction between folks, between fellow band members and the faculty that we have there. Everybody's there and present in one space, and it's not uncommon to see, our faculty in the hall, to see a Fred Morrison or Roddy McLeod having a conversation with some young student, interacting with people down in the hotel lobby bar. It's a lot of togetherness. There's a fraternity about our event that I don't think exists anywhere else. So it is always a lot of fun. And then again, having the elements of competitions and the workshops and the concert. And I have to say that the concert gets better each year. Marie Blair's done a phenomenal job on that, and every year comes up with something new and better. And really looking forward to this year's as well.
Oh, I'll ask you about this year's concert in a minute or two. I've got some questions. It's definitely one of the big highlights of the event for sure. But I have to say, for a lot of people, especially internationally, the one thing that this event has that events like this don't have here in the UK is the workshops. That element of being able to learn from the alumni that are there, like some of those courses are really interesting. And it's an aspect of Winter Storm that I think is a big selling point. Is that something that is actively worked on and cultivated, Mark?
It is. It is. Once we have our faculty established each year, we do have a piping chair and a drumming chair that help put together that course curriculum so that it is, again, each year something a little bit new and fresh and pertinent and, something that there's a demand for. Bob Worrell is our piping chair and Jim Sim is our drumming chair, and they both do a phenomenal job of working with our faculty to come up with those topics each year so that we do keep it fresh and interesting. And yeah, they've done a phenomenal job again this year. So it shouldn't disappoint at all.
Absolutely. Now, I think for folks at home, if you go to the Winter Storm website, the details of the courses that are available are all up there. Even reading through some of those, like there's things in there for soloists, for beginners, advanced, intermediate. But then there's also stuff in there for bands folk as well, like constructing band practices, for example. There's a lot to unpack in here in a short space of time. And I think that can be difficult too for some people.
Yeah, it can. And we have some of that again this year. Some band-oriented things, some competition-oriented topics. Not just fundamentals of how to play, but what are the judges looking for? How to make a pipe band sound good. I mean, all those things that are key and important, and you're learning for some of the best. Richard Parks is there, and he'll be teaching, again, how to get that good band sound, and Terry Lee and Jack Lee, and talking about what judges look for. And it's just, there's a lot of information in there, something for everybody.
Absolutely. So I think for anyone that is going to be attending, please do plan ahead. That's been our advice now for years. Try and pick out which ones you want to hit so you don't miss them, because sometimes they do have to run simultaneously. Isn't that right?
They do. We have, I think, 16 different spaces with classes in them running at the same time. So yeah, and I think 6 of those are drumming, and then 10 or 11 that will be piping. So you do want to look ahead and decide, because it would be pretty easy to get overwhelmed in the moment as to what you want to go to.
Absolutely.
But yeah, and once you've purchased your workshop, you're free to go to whatever you want to go to. So yeah, that's a lot to pick from. You've got 5 separate sessions of 10 or 11 different piping instructors. That's 55 choices you get to make over the course of the weekend.
There you go, which is no small thing.
25 or 26 different drumming topics that are available as well.
Yeah. There you go. So honestly, I think it can be very overwhelming for folks, but my advice is plan ahead. But there is definitely a wealth to choose from there for sure. So yeah, definitely there's a lot of jealousy from folks here in the UK where we don't get that tuition element, for such a great competition. So keep up the great work from that regard for sure. We'll be keeping across that. But you did mention the concert. We need to talk about this concert, which is absolutely a highlight every year. And the hall seems to sell out every year. Is that right?
Yeah. Well, we've changed that a little bit too, again, with just the other changes we've had to make because of space constraints. We did something different after our 2-year layoff during the COVID years. When we brought everything back and put everything strictly in the Marriott, we decided to move the concert into the Marriott Hotel itself. And we used to have it at a church that was down the street from the hotel. And it's a great church. Acoustically, it's fantastic. It was designed by Frank Lloyd Wright, and it was designed with acoustics in mind. And it was a great concert venue. There were some challenges with getting folks from the hotel down to the church and back up, especially in the winter time. And Winter Storm typically lives up to its title. And we have some sort of snow and ice that comes along with it. So those logistics got to be a little bit tricky. But the move into the hotel has really been great. So, since we were no longer renting space to hold the concert, we decided to open it up and just make it available to anybody. So it's first come, first serve. Come in, pick a seat. So if you show up for the weekend, if you're there to compete, there to do the workshops, the concert's a bonus and it doesn't cost a thing. So It's just fantastic, and we've got some things coming this year, some changes, some additions, and some new elements to it that are going to be fabulous.
I love it. I have to say, the concert itself over the last few years, especially, there's been some real magic moments, that really stand out as if just wow for some of those. And I have to say, when you mentioned them by name there, Fred Morrison, come on,
Right.
their man is now just synonymous with the festival now. It's not Winter Storm without Fred Morrison now at this point.
Yeah, he's a fantastic performer. He could do the show himself if he if if
Yeah.
if, it's, if we were allowed to, and he's always entertaining. He's always a crowd favorite. And not just the music, the stories too. He's a
Yeah.
fantastic storyteller, which I think really engages the audience. So
Mm,
yeah, his performances over the years have been great. And Stuart Little, I mean,
yeah.
William McCallum, you can go on and on and on. It's just there's been some fantastic play that comes out of that
Absolutely.
concert.
Yeah. So, well, obviously, the concert itself is all live streamed online, isn't that right? Thanks to the folks at the
It
dojo.
is.
Yeah.
It is. They do a great job of that, and we're very thankful for their efforts because it does make it available to those who can't come. We'd love to get everybody in the UK to fly over. And just a
Yeah.
little plug for Kansas City, we have a brand new airport that is technically now an international airport. So hopefully there'll
Oh,
be some good and nearly direct flights in and out of Kansas City. We can get some of the UK folks in here. But it is an easy airport to get in and out of, so we'd love for you to all come and join us. But if you can't,
yeah.
and we understand not everybody can make it out here. It is available for live stream. So
Hmm.
all the competitions we live stream the competitions.
Yeah.
We've had two separate live stream rooms in the past. We're actually going to add a third this year, so we'll be
Oh,
live streaming
brilliant.
three different competition rooms. But also, yes, we'll be live streaming the concert, so it's available for everybody to see. We'd encourage everybody to watch it, enjoy it, and don't be afraid to donate too. Our event runs on a lot of things. A lot of it's volunteer power, but a lot of it's generosity from people in the piping and drumming world that find this event is valuable as we do. So
Yeah. Oh,
please,
absolutely. Yeah. And the work from the folks at the dojo does not go unnoticed. I think, yeah, they do an incredible job because we know how difficult it is to live stream events in
right,
the Rab Show. So,
right.
yeah, full credit to them. They do a smashing job. Yeah. So I have to ask then, when everything is said and done with the concert and the dust begins to settle, Winter Steam has now become the stuff of legend. I think, if anything, I am dying to get to Winter Storm just to see what Winter Steam is like.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun, and there's a lot of people blowing off a lot of steam by that point
Yeah.
in the weekend. Both attendees and faculties and staff as well. It's a lot of work that goes into it. There's a lot of time, travel, preparation, and by the time we've finished the concert and we head to the steam party, it's everybody's there to have a pretty good time. And I think that's going to be even better this year too. We do have a sponsor net this year for the winter theme.
Hmm.
Gannon is supplying. We've got cash prizes. We have a Kaylee, and we have I think 12 spots. We get 12 acts up on the stage, 5 minutes, anything goes. And it's a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun. So there's cash prizes for first, second, and third. And then Gannon is also supplying up to 2250 in prizes and merchandise prizes for those participants as well. So I think it's going to be bigger and better than ever.
Oh, superb. I'm incredibly jealous. Every time I see people taking selfies and like little tiny video clips you see online of people just having the best crack, it seems to be Winter Steam is where it's at. It's
Well,
like
we
a,
need to get you out here, Rab, and
oh,
have
mate.
you see that firsthand.
I have been told so many amazing stories, and every time January rolls around, I dread it because I absolutely have, what do you call it, FOMO, the fear of missing out. Isn't that what they call it? Yeah,
Right? Yeah.
absolutely. I'm a sufferer from that every year. But who knows? There may be a year that comes around and I'll get out there for sure.
We
Um,
would love to have you.
oh, well, if anything, I have to get out there to sample the barbecue. I've been told a lot of
Yes,
stories about the Kansas City barbecue.
it is
Is it all that
phenomenal.
it's cracked up to be?
It is and more. And if you've not had it, you'll love it. There's nothing like it anywhere else, and each part of our country has their own style of barbecue. And maybe I'm a little bit biased, but I don't think so. I think Kansas City barbecue is the best.
Right.
No offense to the folks in Texas and the folks in Memphis and in the Carolinas, but I think ours is the best, and it's worth trying. And we make sure that everybody is well fed on barbecue while they're here.
There you go. Yeah. Oh, I've been hearing so many stories of people rolling out of restaurants that they've had that much.
There was a story one year, and I can't remember who it was. I wish I did, but the talk of the legendary barbecue in Kansas City was so big that there was one particular individual that I think ate at two or three different barbecue restaurants in one day, just so that he could see for himself which is the
Wow.
best. And I think there maybe was a bit of a challenge as to how to get around after that, but it
That's
has happened.
impressive. Yeah.
It is impressive, and every year there's seems like there's a new barbecue restaurant that opens up that we all have to go and try. So there's no short supply of that.
Oh, fantastic. Yeah. Well, Mark, I have to say, we're super excited for Winter Storm this year. And again, for anyone who's listening right now, please do go and check the website for all the full listings, including the draw for the competitions and everything. And we'll share out all the details for the live streams so you guys can tune in and watch all the action. But a serious amount of piping and drumming to be had over the course of the next few days. But my advice is, if you can, please do drop in a fiver, a tenner, whatever you can afford. Drop in a quick donation to the folks there. Because the work that the guys at the dojo do is just invaluable. Yeah. So, Mark, I have to say a huge thank you for joining us on the pod this week. I really appreciate your time.
Well, Rab, thank you for having me.
No, you're welcome. Well, before I let you go, I have to say we've spoken to a number of events here, both locally here in the UK, but also in Europe as well, who do hold the event of Winter Storm in quite high esteem. They've mentioned it here in the show before that they strive to be as good as Winter Storm. Do you guys do you hear that kind of feedback from other events? And I don't know, I would guess you would draw a sense of pride from that.
We do hear that, and we do hear a lot of that through your show, because you are the ears and the voice of the piping and drumming world. So a lot of our feedback comes through you, Rab, and we appreciate that. Yes, there has been a lot of positive feedback over the years, and I think the greatest flattery you can have is when people try to replicate what you've done that's successful, and we see
Yeah.
that going on out there as well. That I think there are folks that would like to create their own winter storms, and we surely wish them well. Yeah, the feedback's been great, and we appreciate it, and good and bad. If there are things that we can do better, that's certainly our aim.
There you go.
The nice thing about our event is, we're a pretty free-thinking group of people that put it on, and not beholden to any particular set of rules. So we can change what we need to change when we need to change it if it's for the better. So
There you go. And you guys are continually improving as well, all the time, tweaking at things and making it better. So I'm really excited for this year. Looking at the lineup here is just ridiculous. And I do have FOMO right now, Mark. It's not funny. So,
not too late to buy a plane ticket.
Oh, no, I need to be there tomorrow. Mark, thanks again so much for taking time to chat with us, and good luck to all of the competitors and to you guys, of course, in the backroom team. Who'll be racing around at this point, getting things ready. So thank you so much for taking time to chat with us this week. Thank you.
Thank you, Rab.
There you are. And with that, I should remind you to head along to the Winter Storm website, where there are links aplenty, where you can donate and help support the live streaming effort by our good mates there, the Piper's Dojo, along with all of the rest of the links for your live streaming. Now, of course, ourselves and Rab Show will do our best to share out everything as it happens. It's going to be a busy few days from Winter Storm. All that competition, concerts, and Winter Steam, all of it. We're going to do our best to cover every aspect of it by sharing it out across our social media. So if you do want to get caught up to date with everything that's going on, then yeah, that's where you need to do it, over there on our socials. There you go. All right. Well, as we've mentioned, good luck to all of our competitors, to all of our alumni, and to, well, everyone heading to Kansas City. Yeah, we are very, very aware that they have a very dedicated team of volunteers behind the scenes, as we just mentioned. And yeah, good luck to everyone involved there. Yeah. So we are all incredibly jealous of everyone in Kansas City. Hope you all have a good tune, have the best crack, and we'll talk about Winter Storm in our wrap-up next week, I guess, as we'll be tackling another topic of the week, as well as getting into everything that just happened at Winter Storm. There you are. All right, folks, well, thank you all for downloading this week, and each and every week. And that's pretty much it for another Big Rab Show pod. Don't forget to send us in your own listener mail. If there's anything you believe that we haven't covered on this week's pod but absolutely should, then please do email us, bigrabshow@gmail.com. Or, of course, you can head to our website and, let us have your weekly drones, your own thoughts and opinions, warts and all, completely anonymous, which is brilliant. So head over there, weekly drone, let us know your thoughts. All right. Well, folks, that's it. We will see you all in next week's pod. Until then, take care and all the best. Well, that's it for another Big Rab Show podcast. Thanks so much for downloading this week, and a special thank you to our sponsor, G1 Reeds. Played by bands around the world, they are the champion's choice. Check out g1reeds.com for all of your piping needs. Don't forget to check out thebigrabshow.com to be kept up to date with all of the latest news and views from around the piping world. And also, check us out on Patreon. For $5 a month, you can get your hands on tons of extra piping goodness and be a part of the Patreon faithful. So, until next week, folks, we'll see you right here on the Big Rab Show podcast. All the best.